Doom, doom, doom. Hey guys, how you doing? Can you guys hear me? Hey guys, how you doing? Can you guys hear me? Perfect. All right. SEO this week. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 166. Rolling right along. Today we're going to talk about vitals, intent, and Pinterest, which should be pretty interesting because I've been using Pinterest on and off since it came out. And I, depending on the markets, is kind of a win and a lose when you're talking about Pinterest. But link source, not necessarily always a good traffic source, but there are some markets that it just does really good with. Another thing that I'd like to do with Pinterest is not only just share images, but to share infographics too. Or even go beyond that and find good infographics on Pinterest. I'll go to the source, I'll download the infographic, and then I'll put it up on mine. And that pin that I found is getting a lot of repins. I just use that infographic again, and then I get more repins and I get more traffic too. So that's an interesting thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go over the while we're going over the news. We have a meet the expert is Robert Portillo. He is an expert. We're all experts in conversion rate optimization. So you get to listen to him and his views on that. That interview is roughly 25 minutes. And then I had a viewer question last week about S3s. Like, what the hell is an S3? When I mentioned that, and there's some of your process for link building, or you can do some keyword research kind of stuff with S3s and all that. Some things have changed with those cloud sites. So I'll talk a little bit about the cloud sites, kind of break out the white screen again, and we'll see what we can do with that. And as always, we'll answer your questions that you have in the live stream chat on the YouTubes as well. So with that, I'm going to switch over to my screen. Move that out of the way. Okay, so what we're looking at is this week's stories, and it's only, let's see, I got 6 stories this week, so it's not too bad. And this first one is you want to rank for a specific keyword. Now, if you've never been on the Builder Society forum, I think I've recommended them before. It's a really good forum. It's a free forum, and there's a lot of people in there that are not in the mainstream communities like Facebook's, the SEO Signals Lab, or the Affiliate Lab, or what is the other one? Lab, a couple of those big groups, the proper PBN group and stuff like that. Some of these people are not in those, and they really hang out in the Builder Society, and they're stupid smart and have some great ideas, and they share that quite frequently on here. In this case, this is a post that goes along not only the keyword research part, but goes step by step. It's almost like a little mini course of how to go through and build a website out and make some money with it. So I suggest you check it out, and also just go around and look at the forum, and you can get a lot more information from the forum than I get. I'm probably completely underselling that forum. So again, it's free, so check it out. The next one is solving fragment user intent. It is from Kevin Indig. And this fragmented user intent is really basically what that means is if you are doing, a commercial, navigational, informational, and your search could be commercial or navigational or commercial or informational, then that's fragmented user intent. And it's really Kevin's word. But this is a great explanation of that concept and really how to deal with it. I think it's important because as Google is changing the algorithm for the better or the worse, depending on your opinions of it, it's trying to, or the algorithm is designed to try to figure out what that intent is. Sometimes it gets it right, and sometimes it gets it wrong. But you need to know that as you're doing your keyword research, it's got to be in your head. Is this a commercial word? Is this going to make me money? Or is this an informational word where it's going to get me a whole lot of traffic? And, in my experience, commercial words actually have less traffic than informational words because you're And there's more people that are researching for a thing versus they are for buyers. So if you do this properly, you'll find that a lot of your commercial words might actually even have a little less competition than your informational stuff, and you can get going a lot faster. This is it's a Data Studio thing. It was based off of a Search Explorer Sheets. I'm not sure that I shared it, but I share. You guys know I share it. I know and love Data Studio, so I like to share as many things as I can and find that. And this is an Explorer Studio, and it's built in Data Studio. You just hook your stuff up, and it'll import all that, and you can click around it and mess with it and look at your data and actually turn it into something usable. It's also really cool to present to clients. So check this out. Someone actually did the hard work, is doing all his visualizations, and that's really what Data Studio does. It just kind of turns your information into a picture so you can actually do more with it. So this is, again, it's a Data Studio thing, really cool. This post is by Samuel Schmidt, and what he did was he took Core Web Vitals and he probably broke it down even better than I could, and what you can do with it and to optimize it. You guys know I don't like page speed insights. I think that tool is junk. It's garbage. But Core Web Vitals, I think what's going to happen is you're going to get a ranking boost by being kind of green all the way across the board with those three signals. And then once everyone has achieved that, then they're going to stop using it as a ranking boost. It's kind of like the SSL thing. If you remember back then, Google's like, hey, SSL is going to be a ranking signal. And then when in fact people started switching, they got as a boost from it. Eventually, as it became adopted, Google just quietly took that ranking signal out. So it doesn't really matter if you have one or not anymore again. And I'm thinking that this Core Web Vitals thing is going to be pretty much along the same lines. But I will also say that I think that they did a way better implementation with Core Web Vitals than they did with PageSpeed Insights. So use webpagetest.org is actually built into Core Web Vitals. I could do a run for you, as a matter of fact. Why not? Let's just do that. We'll do a run while you're watching. Webpagetest.org. Keep it in LA, and then make sure that's on cable. And I'll run 3 tests. Why not? So this kind of goes back to the original question that was in the chat before I even started. Does anyone know what I prefer as my theme in page building? So I use the Oxygen Builder now. Let's see if I can find you the website. Yep, there you go. And what's good about this is it essentially takes over as your theme. So you can put any theme you want over there. As soon as you put Oxygen on there, it takes over as your theme. You can have some base stuff in there from your theme and just use it to create pages. Or you can just do your whole theme out of this. So we're switching digitally over our agency is going to be entirely Oxygen based. This website is now Oxygen based, and I actually just uploaded or updated the PHP to 7.4, and you can see I'm streaming, and look how fast I still downloaded that. We'll see the web results here real quick. There you go. Security score, it's 700 milliseconds. For start render. So that's pretty damn fast considering that the site's not even optimized right now. So I'm really doing really good. And this cumulative layout shift is one of the things, and this is the Web Vitals, by the way, is one of the things that I need to work on. And basically what that means is if my web page opens like this, and then it goes and looks weird like this, and it moves the viewable part of the screen, that's cumulative layout shift. And I have some pages that are doing that with some forms and stuff that are weird. But my goal would be to at least have the largest successful plant in the blocking time in the green. And then this one, you just don't want it to be red. And I think you're going to be okay. My website's still ranking with all the junk that's on it right now. And number one, even with all the Visual Basic code you guys can see before. And that's my other preferred tool is Visual Basic, the WP Bakery Visual Basic tool. And Generate Press. That combination actually works really well. But this one here is the one that I love right now. We're going to be using it pretty much exclusively. Okay, SEO, 4 simple Pinterest SEO tips to grow your traffic. There's 4 in here, but I'll leave those so you guys can read them. It's by artvoice.com. But like I said, what I like to do is I'll go into Pinterest and I will pick out a particular topic that I'm looking for and kind of do some keyword research on it. Let's go to, I gotta get out of my business hub. I gotta get in the profile. Let's go to, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to do this one. I've been doing this one before. Let's say, and I have a tattoo Facebook page, and I don't really populate it as much as I probably should, and I probably would have a decent audience if I did. And I could do some tattoo affiliate offers. But you can come in here, and let's just pretend, for sake of argument, that I have or we have a tattoo blog. And you like one of these tattoos. I can tell you that on Facebook, these kind of pictures actually get a lot more likes than just general ones for obvious reasons. So we're going to go through and look at this one, and we're just going to pick one here. We don't get to see the repin counts. I don't think they kind of took that off. I don't want that. I want to actually see the picture. It looks like it's an ad. Opening. Come on. That's what I wanted it to do. I think I just picked an ad. See, he's got a lot of followers. There's a lot of followers here, so we're going to assume that there's repins. And you can actually turn it around and make this a picture. Or you can do the same for, let's go SEO infographics, just because we're on a SEO show. And you can find ones that are really cool and just kind of, jump out at you and do your market. So let's talk about SEO infographic. How about page speed? There we go. Reducing your page speed. This would be good for Christmas, I guess. We'll go here. This user doesn't have a whole lot of followers. It's not even counting him. But that's kind of decent. So you just go back over to the target site and find the infographic and use that. I don't change anything. I'll give them the full benefit accreditation. They took the time to make this stupid thing. I can't make infographics. And then I'll put it on a page. I'll wrap it around some content, and then I'll re-pin it, and it'll actually generate a lot of traffic doing that. You'll get more traffic if you're doing different markets, though. So, sign in to Pinterest, look in here, and you can almost pretty much see what is getting more play. So I'd have much better, with that method, you'll have much better thing if you're into art, you're into dogs, in my case, horses as well, and tattoos. So I think this is all something that I'm going to say this looks pretty cool. Okay, so again, there's 4 things in there, but that's pretty much how I use Pinterest. It comes a lot better. And this one is the last, so just kind of a tooltip thing. If you want to know how to change your user agents in any of the browsers and using developer tools, I suggest you get a little bit more engaged with that developer components. Even if you don't understand 99% of it, just be able to play around with some of this stuff and check it out. This is more important when you're doing like a site redesign and you want to see how it'll play off and look different in different machines. And you can get another browser that you don't have to mess with. I use Blisk. Blisk. browser. Right here, download Blisk, and you could actually look at it like your website in an iOS, in an Android, in a tablet, how it's going to look like on a desktop. And older phones, newer phones, all that stuff, they update all that, and you can do it all in Blisk. And I think it's only like $10 a month, so definitely a good tool to pay. And that's it for the news. So that was pretty cool. Hopefully, I'm gonna check and see if you guys have any questions about that. In the meantime, Vinay has some good questions, but I'm going to save those for the whiteboard part. What we're going to do now is I'll move you over, and we're going to watch do the Meet the Expert segment. Again, this is Robert Portillo. I met him at SEO Rockstars 2 years ago, and we've been talking pretty regularly ever since. He's got a Facebook group now, building his own audience. He's got his own agency. As a matter of fact, when we did the interview, that day he had actually closed 3 more clients at $1,000 each, which is pretty good, especially in a time when everyone's complaining that they're losing clients. So he's growing his agency leaps and bounds, and he's got some great information to share. So enjoy the interview.
That's cool.
All right, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed the news section, and now we're going to jump right into the Meet the Experts phase. And I can tell you that I've known Robert. We've been started talking online probably a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now. And to this day, I cannot pronounce your last name. But Robert is a CRO expert. He's kind of the guy that you want to go to if you need to turn your SEO work into conversion stuff. And now you've actually restarted or started an agency, or repositioned your agency. You had an IT business. I'm sure we'll get into this later, but you had an IT business, sold that, made all kinds of bank, and now you decided, hey, I want to try out the web design thing, and SEO business, and you're moving back into that because you were doing it before, and now you're reapproaching it, which is really cool. So this section here, we're going to do about 15 minutes. Just want to talk, who you are, and then let's bullshit a little bit about some CRO stuff. I think it'll be awesome.
Cool.
And so thanks for being here. So with that, who the hell are you, Robert?
Hey, I'm Robert Portillo. That's how you pronounce my last name. Or like the kids used to call me in school, Tortilla. My agency is Nimbus Marketing. I got my start with SEO in 2007, just doing it for my computer repair business. Built that up, became the #1 computer repair business in Los Angeles, and sold that in January of this year, just to focus on my agency that I started in about 2012. In about 2014, 15, I got into conversion rate optimization because we were getting rankings, but we get all this rankings and traffic, and yet, we're only getting, a certain number of customers a day. Why is that happening? I mean, it was at the time, it was, like 10, sometimes 15 customers a day. But when you're getting a couple hundred visits to your website a day and you're only getting, 5, 10 customers, it's like it makes you start to wonder. And so I started, I met this guy, and he's like, oh, you got to check out, Mech Labs and Dr. Flint McLaughlin. So I watched my first conversion rate optimization video of his, and I was stupefied. I didn't realize that there was this whole thing called conversion rate optimization, and I just became fascinated with it, and started learning. I mean, I've watched hundreds of his videos, and I just kind of live and breathe conversion rate optimization now, along with SEO, right? Because you want to succeed online, you just two things: get found, convert the people that find you. And I think people really kind of forget about the converting part. Everyone's so focused on rankings and traffic and paid ads and click-throughs, but no one's really paying attention to what's happening once people come to your site. So about 9 months ago, I started my Facebook group, Conversion Rate Optimization Junkies. We're up to almost 2,000 members. And we're doing a lot more conversion rate optimization work for our clients now.
Are your client base, are you taking on like full funnels, or you just do web properties, like a local business type thing?
Yeah, we do full funnels. We have quite a few e-commerce companies that we picked up in the last few months, and basic lead gen sites as well. Mhm.
That's awesome. What do you prefer to use for funnel stuff? Like there's the everyone knows ClickFunnels, Groove Pages is new, Insta Pages, and all that madness. Is there a preferred one, or is it kind of like my thinking is use the one that works for you, right? So
We like ClickFunnels right now. We're moving to Go High Level. Actually, they're kind of a replacement for that, and I was turned on to that just before SEO Spring Training by a guy named Bruno, an awesome guy who presented at SEO Spring Training several times about it. So we're kind of making that transition now.
you're gonna move everything over to Go High Level, or
I think so.
okay,
Yeah, I think so. It just, we have clients that are paying for, reputation management and scheduling and review management and all of these different things, funnels and, we can combine those all into high level and save them money and then have all that management in one place.
I think like I have Go High Level too, the agency account, and I think the benefit is that, like you said, you have all those things, and then you get them hooked on your things. So now your customer retention is a lot longer than it
Yeah,
was if
yeah.
you were just doing a website and SEO.
Yeah, we have the agency account too, and we just we got an attorney, an immigration attorney here in Los Angeles, who had a nice online presence, and they're paying I think $750 for the reputation management, scheduling, chat, blog, and we're able to turn around and sell to them for half that price with way more features and all managed in one place. By us, they can log in too, but it saves them money, and it's just more features and much better platform.
Right. And then they're more likely to stay with you forever, right?
Exactly,
So.
like that's what Bruno kept saying. You get them hooked on this, and it's like, hey, we're doing all these things for you. If you're gonna let us go, then you're gonna have to find replacements for all this stuff. It's gonna be a big hassle, right? It's not like you've got them in a chokehold, but like it's such a sweet deal that they'd be crazy to go anywhere.
For sure, for sure. On the topic of CRO, you talked about, I kind of put you on the spot a little bit and bragged a little bit to use over the top SEO and kind of how that was set up. And you've shared that in your group. There's a couple of examples. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we got, you know, some exposure from you sharing that. How do you go about analyzing a website and saying this is good? You know what I mean? Is it
Yeah.
opinion based, or is it from your experience? You're looking at things, or I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm glad you brought up over the top, and it is like maybe a little, bragging opportunity for you. But when we redesigned our agency's website, we looked at 500 other competitor sites, and that was before we even started. And then since then we've looked at another couple thousand. So I'm constantly looking at other agency websites, just for ideas and to kind of laugh sometimes. But when I stumbled into the new, I remember the old over the top, and I was like, I met Clint. I'm like, this guy's amazing. I'm going to his website. I'm like, what the hell is this site? This is not what I was expecting, and it kicked ass. Like it got rankings, but like the actual user experience was not what I was expecting. It kind of was. So when I saw the new site, I was like, oh wow, now they have a site that's befitting of Clint and his team, right? And I later learned, he's doing like $80 million a year, but. Yeah, I was stupefied by how well the site was put together, the psychology, the thing that stood out was like, what I saw when I looked at so many other SEO agency websites was kind of like this desperation. Like, oh, look at our reviews, look at our awesome pictures, look at our team, look at our, case studies, look at all, come on, hire us. And you guys flipped it around. You're like, see if you qualify. We don't take everybody. And I just thought that was so smart, because it sets you apart from the rest and allows you to attract clients that are higher scale than just, anybody who, time wasters, for example. So, and then as I reviewed the site, like the way it was laid out, like each section, for me, it's like a work of art. Like it's in a league of its own as far as the way the SEO is done and the way the psychology of the site is done. Not now. I do have my qualms about the site. The primary picture is like all dudes, right?
Yeah.
And I know Carolyn. I know there's girls that work at but like the picture is like all dudes, and I'm like, is that? I was gonna post in my group about that too. Like, is this genius because it's a man's world, or are they ruling out the female business owners? And by doing that on purpose, is that a good or bad thing, right? Because they're being more selective as to who they're targeting. So I wanted to get a discussion and also just flip that back to you. Like, why is it such a dude fest on the picture there?
Yeah, that's the owners. Most of those guys are all like the collection of staff from a couple different agencies. OTT is like a collaborative from a couple different agencies that the owner actually owns. So, like for example, when we redesigned that website, the guys that did it, it was a great agency, and we're like, well, we like working with you. So guys like, all right, we bought the agency, got the agency, and bought all the people. So they're ours. And then it's kind of that collaboration. He does that, he just collects these group of people. In his case, he just happens to work with a lot of dudes, and most of those guys are all in Israel. So, and that's just kind of how that rolled out.
Yeah.
In that way, I don't even think Carolyn was ever in that header thing. But she's kind of shy anyway. It took us forever just to get a headshot from her. So, but his guy's wife was in there at one point. His personal issues there, but that kind of fall out. But his wife's sister was our project manager for a long time too, and it's a big agency, but we had some growing pain stuff, and I think it just kind of honestly turned out by accident to be all dudes at this point.
Yeah,
we'll see. Guy makes music videos. There's no dudes in that thing, I tell you.
Oh, seriously? I didn't know that. I did like an hour of research on him one day. I was kind of blown away. Like, he's got like a $200,000 computer or something crazy like that, or I forget what it was. But yeah, interesting, definitely interesting guy. And I'd love to learn more about the trajectory from starting to becoming an $80-something million a year agency. That's just staggering.
Yeah, he's done some podcasts. I don't think he's been on one probably for a year now. We kind of keep him behind the scenes, and then when it's time to break out the big guns, we just let him go and do his thing. So, but yeah, he's an interesting dude. He's got an interesting story. He's got a book coming out to tell all about it. So, if you ever want to know what it's like to be a hacker, to go to jail, to turning your life around, to making a company that does that much money, it's probably a good opportunity to read that book.
And you, does he just, like, you're the head SEO, does he just give you autonomy? Like, how does that work? I mean, I know this is supposed to be ask the expert, but you're also, an expert in.
I essentially run the agency part of Over the Top SEO because there's, like I said, there's just different components. Greg, he runs the other like contractors and our other avenues. Like we have franchisees. We do, if you know about those sharing organizations, like you swap or you barter. I'm sorry, that's the term I was looking for. Barter organizations. He's in line with all of them and is handling all the marketing for the barter organizations. Guys handling the SEO or the big marketing stuff. There's another. I'm sure I've told everyone on the shows before. We're doing a competitor to Home Advisor. Greg and Guy are running all that madness and contractors and bringing all that stuff in, and then. So I run basically Over the Top SEO. So if you come to us as an SEO client, and under our new model as a partner, I'm making the decisions on how we're going to handle that. What is our SEO plan for that, and then we execute it. Either I'll do it myself or we'll send it out to Carolyn, and then we get few other people that do it, and then we just hire and and fired based off of client load. Really, at the end of the day, is what it works out to be. So, but
Well,
Carolyn's like, she's awesome. So I just keep her around forever.
she is. I
So.
like that. Yeah.
So on that topic, since we're just doing the web design, like I looked at, I don't know if you've seen Digital Ear, and I kind of wanted to bring you, if you wanted to, you can open it up. But I've taken it, and right now that site is essentially in rebuild mode. So if you look at it, like half of it's in Lorem Ipsum, and the other half is in the parts of English that my developers knew. So that I had in there. So, and I think I did pretty much what you said. Is I was looking at different things. I didn't want to make an identical site to Over the Top because it's a different market, different positioning. But we looked at a bunch of different other websites and kind of piecemeal this piece here, this piece there, and that there. I think the winners that I found was Thrive Agency, On the
Yeah.
Map Marketing, Coalition.
Yeah.
There wasn't a few others but most of them, and you would know this more than I do, but because you looked at 1,000, I'm way too lazy for that. But what I found is most of them were buying like Envato themes and using pretty much the same Envato themes. Like you
Totally.
can,
Yeah,
so
that's how we did our website at first too, and I'm so glad we moved away. And because of you, we moved to Oxygen. You and so many other people. But
mhm.
about your digital, I have your Digital Ear website open right now. I'm happy to, make a few suggestions. I was just talking to Cody last night, so you're in good hands if Cody's in charge of this thing because he's a member of my, conversion rate optimization junkies Facebook group, and he's so cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's awesome.
and the site looks great, it has good white space, it's clean, it's modern, like it's totally top notch. I'd like to see a value proposition here. I talk a lot about that. My whole presentation at SEO Spring Training was about value propositions, right? Like people surf the web very erratically. They're looking for something to jump out at them. And if you don't kind of have that big bold headline and that sub headline and those bullet points and that big call to action that's like directing them and setting the tone, you're less likely to convert. So I'd like to see, like, everything looks great. I just want to see a value proposition here. And then, the value proposition of the site is so important, and it's one of the most overlooked parts of a website. In fact, when I looked at all these hundreds, thousands of sites, and for my SEO Spring Training presentation on conversion rate optimization, I looked at 2,500 dental websites. There were no value propositions,
Right.
and this has been proven with over 20,000 tested mech labs that these value propositions, where they're applicable, right? They're not applicable on some e-commerce sites and so forth, but where they're applicable, like on lead gen sites like Digital Ear, they do wonders for your conversion rate. Right? And you've talked about this before, right? And pass the 5-second test. Where am I? What can I do here? Why should I do it? Your website is technically doing that, like Digital Air. Where am I? What can I do here? Well, right now I can call or click the side arrow to see more. Why should I do it? New York Times, Forbes, Huffington Post, so forth. But it's really not a fully formed value proposition. So that would be my first suggestion. And then just kind of the rest of the site looks really great. You've got your featured projects and the what makes you special, and overall you're doing a really good job. When you're done with it, I'm happy to give it another kind of final once over and let you know
Right.
what I think.
For those who don't know, what is the layman's definition of value proposition?
Value proposition is an encapsulation of what makes your company special, right? First of all, a value proposition is the headline. That's the most important part of your page, not a title, right? Right now you have website design, SEO, and PPC management services, right? That's a title, it's not a headline. So I know you're an SEO, so you want to get those keywords in there, right? So you would kind of reword that into a headline that first gets their attention, right? So say, like, #1 rated website design, SEO, and PPC management services in the country as voted by, LA Times, right?
Right.
So that's a headline. It's like, whoa, this list company is interesting. And the subheadline draws them in further, right? It builds upon the interest that the headline got. The headline gets their attention. subheadline converts it into interest. It's like, yeah, when you sign with us, we guarantee in 6 to 9 months, you're going to be number one for at least 10 keywords, and you're going to double your revenue. Something like that. It's like, what? And it's like, yep, no contract, and then bullet points, no contracts, 15 years in business, blah, blah, blah. And best of all, this company is run by Clint Butler, who's the head of the SEO intelligence agency, one of the most important testing agencies, if not the most important testing agency in the world, right? And then, get started on your journey, or get those top rankings now, or, get a free estimate, or whatever it is, your call to action. So that's your value proposition can position your company and give them that only factor, right? Because that's what you need the most is that only factor. And that only factor, I know you don't really like to be in the limelight on your website so much, which is kind of strange because you have these shows and you do all this stuff, but like you're the only factor. Like in my opinion, I've done a lot of research, like you're easily one of the top 10 SEOs in the world. Like that's just my opinion, right? There's people disagree. So, and a lot of people know who you are, and to kind of introduce that and make it more personal might be one way to go. It might not, right? It's just, you might want to split test like 2 different homepages to start with and see, what the results are. Right. But just kind of bring it all home. A homepage, the value proposition, like I remember in grade school, tell them when you write an essay, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them, right? So it's kind of an intro to what the whole company and the website is about.
That's similar to Joe Sugarman's style of copyright teaching is the headline, the subheadline, and they're really all designed to get you to read the next thing.
Yeah.
So, yep.
And you mean the subheadlines, the headline's really big, the subheadline's a little smaller, the bullet points are smaller, right? And by making that visual hierarchy, it makes it snackable, as opposed to like being hit with a block of text or just a pretty picture, right?
Right.
So they're more likely to, digest read it and digest it than if it was, not there or structured otherwise.
Right. Thrive and Coalition, they have big old forms right there in that hero section. What do you think about adding forms immediately?
Yeah, I like the Thrive site a lot. They're definitely, I didn't run into them, strangely enough, when we were looking at the, so many hundreds and thousands of sites. Someone turned them on to me in my Facebook group, but wow, they have a great site. They really do. They just come across as a beautiful, a very reputable type of agency. As far as like having the form, I've seen countless conversion tests that show that works really well. As long as, again, you have that supporting content there and it's not just, hey, welcome to our site, fill out the form to get your estimate. It's like, wait a minute, you haven't given me a reason to fill out the estimate. Yeah. So Leon Sheed did, Leon, man, dude's amazing, right? He presented at SEO Spring Training. He showed me one of his roofing company sites, and it blew my mind. Like it had the contact form over to the right and a bunch of text and bullet points over to the left. One of the best pages I've ever seen. And I told him, this is great. He's like, don't share that. I'm like, okay.
Well, that format is really, that's an old landing page format. It's the same. Back in the day, all the websites were ugly. It was a headline, sub-headline, bullet points, and then your form, and then that's how you got into the next part of that funnel, right? So,
yeah, it's kind of like what you told me about SEO. Like what's old is new. Yeah. It's these things can work. Again, you just kind of have to test them. But what I'm seeing more and more working is just like a scroll experience where everything is vertical. And there's no sideways reading, right? Because people read top left to right, top to bottom. Yep. So you want to make sure that and they do it a lot on their phone where they're just flicking with their finger. So anytime you have something so they kind of expect their desktop experience to kind of mirror that mobile experience. They're being trained by their mobile devices that there's no real left to right other than, what's on the screen. So when you take your text into a left to right, with like blocks left to right like that, you tend to throw off that momentum that you might be gaining on your site. So it's something to think about.
That makes sense. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. I never really liked that left paragraph and right paragraph on a website. It's like it's a
No,
wasted space to add some visual, gotcha right there. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
images and stuff. So I use left and right columns, two columns, quite a bit. But every time I do it, there's an image on one of those columns, not two blocks of text for them to read. So
yeah, yeah.
that makes sense. Well, thank you very much. I know I gave you short notice on this interview. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man running all that agency stuff and killing it over there. So I appreciate you spending the time with me and my audience.
Hey, thanks, Glenn. It's a total pleasure, and I've watched all of your SEO this week shows, so it's an honor to be here, and keep making these amazing shows, and I appreciate that all the knowledge you've shared. It's made a big difference in my agency and in my life.
All righty, so there we go. I hope you got something out of that. I know that I certainly did. It was kind of double service for me because I got him to actually look over Digital Lear and just give me some ideas as we rebuild that site for the course. You see the page is already there. I got a couple of new clients that I want to drop into that client section. And then we can actually start going into talking about rebuilding those individual pages for their targets and their needs. So I'll show that off as well while we're doing on SEO this week. While I'm building out what ranks, just so it's kind of a teaser. You get to see what you guys are going to getting, but you get some of it for free. So there's nothing wrong with sharing that. I don't think, especially I'm sure that some of you black hats will probably buy the course to do group buys on it anyway. So why not just stave it off and beat you to the punch? All right. Right now I'm going to go through the questions real quick here. I know I had some from before. Let's see. I used Avada. Try something else for a second. Avada is actually a good theme. Connor said he's using Avada. It's not too bad. For themes, if you're looking for just a theme thing, normally I'd kind of go purpose built, right? So, and what that means is just based off of the purpose of what you're using it for. Look for the perfect landers and stuff, and just kind of use it as your template and save yourself some time. If you're doing any kind of web design work, that's really the easiest thing to do is you interview your clients, find out what they want, and then go through, look at the example sites, get some Avada, look at those sites, put them all together, get your client say, yep, I wanted this, and this from these different things, and then hand it over to your designers for the ultimate, the first draft, and that kind of speeds things up. So I tend to do that with themes. There's plenty of them. They're all, they're good and bad. I don't like Divi. It's not a theme. Well, I guess they have a theme, but I don't like that builder. It's just nothing wrong with it. I just didn't want to learn something new. You know what I mean? So, at the time that I was exploring Divi, I preferred Visual Basic, and then now we're going on Oxygen, which is damn near learning programming, but not. You know what I mean? So Generate Press is fast. Genesis was good back in the day. Thesis, I don't know if you guys remember that thing. That thing's still around. And then, but Generate Press, I think would have to be considered my go-to just because it's clean and it's fast. And then the X theme, that's really good if I don't want to build anything kind of like from scratch, and I just want white, clean, and clear. Which if you guys have been following me, know that most of my sites end up white, clean, and clear anyway. So I use X theme for that, and they have a couple pre-built things like Icon is what it's called. Is one that I prefer. That's it doesn't look half bad, and it's again clean, clear, and easy. So X theme is a good one. Downside with X theme is you got to buy it per license or per site. I don't even think they have a bulk one out yet. Let's see. There's the Elementor fan. Elementor is not too bad. I actually prefer Elementor over Divi. So if I had to grade them, it would be Elementor, WP Bakery, Oxygen. Let's see. This is from Vinay. Let's say you have a poorly built affiliate site that's over optimized. It has over optimized links and overall crap site that was once ranking well and now ranks 2 and 3. Is it a good idea to remove all the over optimized links to inner pages and rebuild, or ignore that part of the site and build a new section with proper techniques? It depends on, you said it's 2 and 3. So the page 2 and 3 is not horrible. Page 2 is kind of like the bottom of page 1 now. The way that Google screwed up search, in particular local. I haven't tested a national or affiliate, like a product type thing, but in local in particular, you have all those directories and stuff, and people who really just want a local business, right? So they're actually moving over to page 2 where more local businesses are at. So page 2 and page 3 isn't actually a horrible thing. So I would not delete those URLs. I would redo the content, re-optimize the content, maybe update it. You said it's not updated. And then look at the links and see if it's worth disavowing. If there's not a whole bunch of them, it's just like it's got weak links. And typically that's, if it sounded like the site was neglected, and it used to be on page 1, the site got neglected. Now it's on page 2 or 3. You coming back and you're like, dear God, how did this rank in the first place? To me, that sounds like the site was neglected, in which case the links were probably neglected, and you have link decay. So building new links would probably be a much better use of your time versus doing a disavow or deleting the pages and all that stuff. I think you get more bang for your buck. Just the way you wrote that, it sounds to me like that's what you're looking at right there. So it's kind of a hybrid answer. I would rebuild it under the new standards that we know that we have to do it with. But I would keep that URL structure so I don't lose those page 2s and 3s. Google's already told me that I've kind of met the guidelines that I need. I just need to push over the top, right? So do it that way. Let's see. Jay's love the new Ask the Expert session. I appreciate it. If you guys want to hear from any other people, let me know. Again, I am trying to stay away from the standard audience horror crowd, the Matt Diggities and all that stuff. They're all sharing each other's audience and stuff. And I'm kind of expose everyone to some new people because I think I don't know about you, but I've pretty much heard everything that those guys have to say. I'm over them. Let's see. What are your thoughts on SEO Presser and migrating from Schema Pro and Yoast? Jay, the answer to that question would be basically, what is the purpose? What are you using SEO Presser? I'm assuming you're talking about that SEO Presser plugin. I don't use Yoast or Schema Pro anymore either. I use SEO Press, and then I hand write my schema, and I do that for each client, and I just create a template, and I use that template over and over again. So it's probably faster and it's more accurate. And the reason for that is you guys haven't seen it on SEO this week. I've kind of talked about the test results, but you've never seen them because I put that video in my paid stuff. But basically, I tested all of the standard schema that all these plugins and everyone's using. And that's all really based off of what Google's guidelines are in the developers knowledge base that's available to everyone. So those plugin writers went and they found that knowledge base and they said, all right, these are the standard things. Here's the schema, and now you have local business schema, now you have product schema, and all that stuff. And I tested, how many? I think it was like 15 different variations of schema, and only 2 of them in their basic form, not built out, just basic form, the way Google says this is the way you want to do it, actually did absolutely nothing for rankings. The ones that did were the how-to schema, and then there's a variation of how-to schema that actually helped pretty good too. It not so much as the how-to schema, but it actually got a boost versus everything else that didn't do dick. So how-to schema in those plugins is okay. Everything else, you're just kind of wasting your time. You're meeting the standard, and when everyone's meeting the standard, you can't really stand out. So you have to excel, and that's where I always tell people. Now it's SEO Presser. SEO Press Pro, and they have a custom option in there where you can just write your own schema and do it per page, so you don't have to add an insert headers footer plugin in there. It's already built into the SEO plugin, and that's something that I like about that. Otherwise, if you're on a Yoast thing, you just shut off the Yoast schema. You don't want to migrate to another SEO plugin. Just shut off the Yoast schema, add like a Sogo header and footer, and start writing your templates. It's not that hard once you get the template done. And once you get the template done, it's a matter of just changing some URLs, probably the URL of the website, some images, and then a little bit of description rewriting. But the rest of it will pretty much, I would say 90% of it would actually stay the same. I wrote one for a client this weekend. We got finally finished out and fleshed out. It was 500 code lines, and we change 4 sections of it per page. And that's really all that you have to do. So handwrite it, build a template, get to know, like, and love SEO or schema.org. What is the title of Hacker Dude's book you guys are talking about? Oh, man, Vinay, I really don't remember the title of the Hacker Dude's book. If you remember the context of what we're talking about, I might remember the book. Let's see. Christopher, is there any value in publishing e-com site inventory to a Google Publish sheet with URL schema and price? I have a test coming out. I'll let you guys know. I'm doing it for SIA, but I'll let you guys know. And what I wanted to look at was, you remember before where you could pretty much do what you're talking about there. You put your whole inventory. You have a Google sheet, and then it has the inventory and the URLs and all that stuff, and you get some ranking value out of that, especially if you hit those with like a GSA or something like that and build a whole bunch of links to them. And you need a lot more links because you're building it to a big list. So the problem became that Google updated the way you make those public now. So you click share, and it used to be available, anyone with a link, anyone on the web, all that kind of stuff. And now they just changed it, so it's available everyone on the link, and then restricted. And everyone that was doing those stacks kind of freaked out, like, oh, they're not public anymore, blah blah blah. Well, actually, they are. If you go to file, you'll see the publish to the web is still there. The problem is, I wanted to see which way would actually get you some link juice. Is it just, if you just make it to available on the web, you're going to get link juice, versus do I have to make it public on the web? And the problem with public on the web, especially if you're like an e-com site and you have that Google sheet with all that stuff, and you're up against someone who has access to, like, drop shippers that can get access to all those things, you basically built their website for them. All you need is a smart developer that can pull in all that data and just, ta-da, you got a whole website going on. And, there's some other, things that you can think about, you can do with those sheets that everyone's making public. So, but if it's available to anyone with a link, was it still going to pass juice? Right now, based off of the results we're seeing, available with the link is actually beating public with the web in the way that it's ranking the test pages. So stand by for that one to be able to definitively say, yeah, do it. To me, right now, it just sounds like it's going to work. Just don't make it public right now. That's what I would say. Build it now and then don't make it public. Another one you can do is actually lucid charts. Lucid charts, those organizational, like, just build like an organizational site map. You know what I mean? A visual site map of your webpage. And then put your URL inside of there and just share that. Like, share it with the features in there. And I didn't know I was making it public, but I was getting backlinks from Lucidchart. So if you got a Lucidchart account, go over there and make some mind maps and put backlinks in them. Let's see. Avada is a nightmare every time there's a big update. Like 3 to 4, 4 to 5. Yeah. Some themes can get like that. Divi for landing pages. Yeah. You know what's cool about Divi is it's popular. There's a lot of people supporting it. What's cooler about Oxygen is there's a plugin for Oxygen where I can go to your Divi website and copy each part of the nice cool thing that you spend all that time designing for, like that, and just change the words. So yeah, go on with your bad self, Pablo, and make some more Divi landing pages. Let's see. There's Bruno. I have embedded the Google Sheet into a Google site. Yep, embedding still works. I would actually go beyond that and embed your website into that as well. And if your website, believe it or not, has some things on it like schema, sometimes all that stuff will pick through and it'll actually be on your Google site. So check that out, see if that still works. I haven't tested it in a while. I actually bought a new tool. I'm going to probably share it with you guys. There's no affiliate link that I can find. I can't find an affiliate program for it. So I'll just share it with you guys and show you what I'm doing. Came up with discussing with Robert. You mentioned this dude, the owner. Guy's book. Yeah, he hasn't actually told me that it's out yet. I'll hit him up and ask him when he's planning on releasing it. I know he was doing COVID. You know what I mean? So everyone's got business issues as a result of COVID. Over the top, actually, we're doing okay. Didn't lose any customers, but we did lose a lot of the lead gen stuff. Just people weren't dialing. So he was dealing with that. But I'll see where the process is with the book and let you guys know. You can check that out. Basically, if you remember, Guy, he's my boss over the top. Been working with him for like 5 years, and he's got a pretty colorful history. But I think we all have colorful histories if you kind of peel back the onion, right? So I'm looking forward to reading that book myself. Okay, so we've been an hour. I'll leave it up to you guys. I'm going to get a sip here. You let me know if you want me to go over the cloud stuff and just kind of the way that I use those a little bit. If you don't, then I can actually get a meeting in 25 minutes. So. I'll just give it a brief overview. What the hell not? Why the hell not? IMAX screen. Busting out the pen. Alrighty. So, cloud sites, for those who don't know, and obviously we have some people that don't know because I was asked the question. The basic idea is that you have you have Amazon Web Services, there's Azure, Google Cloud. These are pretty much the big three. P Cloud, you can actually build sites on. Git, you can build sites on Git. There's Git websites you can build, and I'm sure there's some more that I'm missing. But really, my top three are AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. Google Cloud, obviously, for obvious reasons. Git is actually really, really good if you can get it to work. In P Cloud, you have to have a paid plan, no matter what. AWS is free for 12 months, depending on usage. Azure is now they have a free for 12 months thing, but if you signed up for it and then use the same email that you're expired, you have to pay for it by usage, but it's not too bad. And then the same as this one is free for a year, and then it's usage. But at the end of the day, I mean, geez, my AWS bill was like 32 cents at 1 month. That was the high. So now what you can do is you need to know or have access to HTML templates, and you can actually put a web page on these and leverage the domain authority of these websites and the trusting of these websites to do it. AWS has like 50 different offerings, but the offering you're looking for is called S3. And basically, it's just a storage thing. Back in the day, before, what's the name of that the video service? there's Vimeo, and then there's one other one. But before those came out, S3 was pretty much it. And you can run a S3 scraper and kind of rip everyone's course, because these buckets back then had to be private or public in order to show up on another website. So you have to run an S3 bucket tool, and you just essentially scrape a whole course like that and get it for free. Azure, it's still a little bit new to me. I'm hearing rumblings that the indexing for Azure is a lot better right now. So I want to get more acquainted with Azure and use that. And then Google Cloud. It's Google, so I don't care if it indexes or not. Google's going to know about it one way or another because it's in their service. And so you take the HTML page and you can optimize it and pretty much do whatever you want. The old way, and I say old because it was before the Amazon S3 changed their URL structure, is just pretty much ugly websites. It's text, some images, and then a button, and then you rank for some long tail terms, and you can pretty much rank it bank. It's old now because stupid people went to John Mueller and be like, why is this S3 site ranking? I don't understand. Why is it beating my website that I can't build for shit and my context sucks? And I don't understand why this one's beating me. So what happened was, I think there's probably some internal corporate pressure. And so before it was S3 Amazon.com/keyword, right? And essentially, when you're ranking those pages, you're ranking an Amazon URL. And my guess is some corporate pressure came along and they're like, hey, Google probably threatened Amazon in one way or another, or we're going to take your S3s completely off or whatever. But instead of dealing with that, they just said, all right, everyone's going to be a subdomain, and change it to keyword.s3.amazon.com. Blah, blah, blah. You still get the benefit of the domain on there, but essentially it's a new website versus this way where it was a subdirectory. So there's still the linking juice and the value is still there. So don't discount it anymore. But you can actually do it a lot better. My recommendation is actually to create some networks for yourself. Don't go out and turn this into, I'm going to just, seal up a whole bunch of bucket names. There's a bunch of retards out there that do tens of thousands of these things and they're never possibly ever going to use them all, just to be a-holes and do the bucket name. But so basically, let's say you wanted to, I'm just going to stick with Arizona because I'm here, and then create a bucket for each city. So Phoenix, Tucson, Scottsdale, Glendale. And then what you can do is have sub pages as you go along for all your clients. So all your clients need Phoenix stuff. You can do, the locksmith, plumber, blah, blah, blah. And you can do that per city and get some nice local relevant links. And typically with these, which you don't really need a whole lot, some 800 words, a video, maybe embed your site. And then, or you can do the directory thing. Like, if you want to make this like really super relevant, just do a directory. Everyone knows that Google likes directories, and make a directory with, the top 10 plumbers, the top 10 lawyers, the top 10, blah, blah, blah. And build some links out of that with those. And this is like stupid relevant. And if I'm ranking that Phoenix page, this Phoenix bucket will link to my Phoenix page on my target website, right? So there's stupid relevant content, really good pages, and it's going like that. So I recommend you do something like that. Obviously, my guess is that these names are no longer available, so you're not going to get the cities, but do some variations. If you're only doing dentists, Phoenix dentists, or a variation thereof. There's, like I said, I have no doubt that most of the good exact match subdomains are already gone over there, just because there's douchebags who think that it's cute to have a whole bunch of those and make it some kind of, personal pride. I've got 10,000 subdomains over there. I can use them for anything I want, but I don't, because I can't possibly use 10,000 subdomains. There's no fucking way. But there you go. So that's that. That's the cloud stuff. Hopefully that helped answer that question. I know that was from the audience. Let's see. Any experience with Mega Cloud Stacker? That's actually one of the few tools over there that I use, right? So there's, if you guys don't know, is Ranking Factory. They have the RYS. RYS is the original software, and then the Mega Cloud Stacker was born off of that, because why improve the normal software? We'll just make a whole new one and sell that on top of it. And basically it builds those out and it interlinks them for you all in autopilot. So that's one of the tools that I like to use. And then another one is Backlink Factory. That was really good too. And then automate your cloud build outs. Traffic Factory kind of does it now. If you want to do the mass page sites, you want to get into that. I don't know if you've been around, or how long you've been around, but Authority Stacks is the original version of that. Those guys bought that, added a couple features. They added Drupal, not Drupal. What the hell is Dublin Core? I mentioned Dublin Core, one of their builders, and I was like, "Hey, this is a great thing." And he's like, "Oh, really?" And then turned that into his own idea, and added that to the copy of Traffic Factory. They cleaned up that software compared to what it was, and they added some new features to it. So that's really good. So you can build that, or you can wait and check out Enterprise. July-ish is when they're supposedly going to release that cloud builder thing. And you might not even have to use clouds anymore. So, but it's a good tier 1 backlink. It's safe. You can leverage it as part of your branding. There's a legitimate reason for having it. So if you get a manual thing and you're not going nuts with them, you can say, "Hey, look, those are legitimate pages as part of our branding, and yeah, we link to them to our normal website. Why wouldn't we?" So that's not an unnatural linking pattern. So you'll be good from there. I don't see any more questions. Again, if you could leave a subscribe, hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, thumbs down, engagement doesn't matter to me. And if you have a topic that you would like to hear about for the discussions, or you have a guest that you would like me to get on and ask some questions to, leave a comment in the YouTube comments. I get notified with those every time, and I do appreciate you. And thank you very much for watching SEO This Week, episode 106.